Want an illegal rail strike? Throw away in case that wasn't obvious. As a rail worker we can't strike. But you can. If you were to picket our places of business. We have a rule that we can empower ourselves to avoid a dangerous situation. If I were to drive up to work and see a picket line, I would have no choice but to call up my boss and empower myself to let them know I don't feel safe crossing the picket line. I must turn around and go home for safety reasons. They can't do anything. Our jobs are safe and we all get the strike we say we want. Think Occupy Wall Street, but instead occupy railroads. We're at a crucial crossroads, America. We can do this, but it takes everyone. Change begins with you. If you have questions, I'm happy to answer them as I can. I'm traveling today. What sorts of places of business? Also, I'm not well versed in this, but what are the realistic consequences for you guys if you strike anyway? Can they actually imprison people? It's not about money. It's about the ability to keep my job. We are fiscally blessed, but all the money in the world doesn't matter if I get fired for having the flu for a week. I never crossed a picket line for Starbucks or Kellogg's. I did encourage my friend, a truck driver, to not deliver to Kellogg's during their strike and they didn't. I don't buy Nestle products. I've supported through money and food other strikers. I do whatever I can whenever I can. And if I can take off work without being fired, I can support others in their battles. Remember, if you are in a position that you absolutely cannot go on strike, just work really slow. Take literally as much time as you possibly can to accomplish work tasks. Slow the trains down to a crawl. If others are interested, I'd love to organize something in Baltimore. I'm not experienced with this though. I could use help. B&O Railroad is a national landmark. I find this whole "you can't strike" directive weird. Either they allow the strike to happen legally and for some weeks until a resolution is agreed to. There's no rail service and life sucks for America. Or they don't allow a strike and it happens anyway and the only 100,000 people who know how to run the rails are fired and may be arrested and the rails are shut down for a year or two while complete neophytes are hired and trained. Seems the latter would be catastrophic for a decade or more economically. The former, it's a pain for a few weeks. I'm still trying to understand how striking can be illegal. Like they can arrest you for not going to work? And we call this a free country? The protests in Iran are illegal too and yet they are making progress. General strike time. Workers unite. This entire episode was about management taking back power from workers. The rail workers were just the first step in the ownership class efforts to bring the working class back under their thumb. We'll get you those paid days off one way or another. It sounds like they don't have enough people to cover callouts. They can't just throw bodies on trains and operate safely. This is a game of chicken and I think the workers have the upper hand. The RRs can't afford to fire them. Boosting this so it can actually become a movement. I've read a lot of this comment section and feel like a few points are being missed. 1. Expecting rail workers to take on all the risk here without networks of community support and solidarity strikes ready to go is unfair and callous. 2. If union leadership is unwilling to go to jail for this, then they need to step down. I'm sorry, but leaders have to put doing the right thing ahead of personal well-being. That's what real leadership is. 3. Yes, if the railways actually shut down, there will be police violence used to reopen them, regardless of who's doing the shutting down. 4. No, that doesn't mean that a shutdown is unreasonable to demand. The hard truth is that this is a real adversarial situation. It always has been. And it will be as long as we have privately owned companies responsible for essential services and inelastic goods. The rights we as workers have today only exist because those who came before us literally fought and literally died for this cause. When all legitimate means are bent toward the subjugation of the worker, anything other than complete submission will be treated as illegitimate. Are we then to consign ourselves to misery? That's because you're talking about playing by the rules. You cannot win by playing by the rules. Because when you get the upper hand, the government will simply change the rules in their favor. Make a strike illegal, for example. The U.S. postal workers' strike of 1970 is a prime example of this. Nixon made the strike illegal, then went on national TV and demanded the workers go back to work. This made postal workers in other areas of the U.S. angry, and they in turn went on illegal strike in support. As a result of that, the U.S. Postal Union is the largest and, at the time, one of the most powerful unions in the world. I am a member of a large union and have been all my working life, so I very much understand the logistics of organizing a strike. But on rare occasions you simply have to tear up the rulebook and get a bloody nose for what you believe in and stop making excuses. Man shrugging, light skin tone. Sure would be a shame if rail ties started mysteriously showing up and blocking lawmakers' vehicles. I see lots of our malicious compliance posts about to come forward with anything wrong with a train, which would before be a mess suddenly become a no-way bro. There is no such thing as an illegal strike. They are the strike's placard of class struggle and the voice of people who have been mistreated greatly. Thanks for this post clarifying what you'd need in order to strike. Let's organize this countrywide and make sure this post is shared. Strikes created to protest unfair working conditions. People working in unfair working conditions strike. Government makes strikes illegal. Also government. We solved the problem. The best thing to do is have everyone just quit or strike anyway. What are they going to do? Arrest everyone and have the entire country plunge into massive unrest, or just give you what you want?
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.